My camera looks pretty terrible. It's kind of weird. It always looks like I don't know. I don't usually stare at it. Ooh, one person jumped in here already. I'm so excited. What a lucky prick I am. They're probably gonna jump out because that's what people do on here. They show up for streams and then they disappear afterward, which is pretty. I mean, personally, I don't get it, but whatever. People do what they want to do. Get rid of that. Stick that over there. All right, cool. Yeah, this has been a really long, tiring day, and hopefully the other video I did was able to get up there. Draconian restrictions. Who is this? They're showing me somebody's face I've never seen him before. Oh, that's Heinrich, another minor senator. He's an extra. He's on a. If we put him on level of importance in the Senate from 1 to 10, he wouldn't even be a 1. That man doesn't do anything ever. I apologize for the grainy quality. It's just something that we have to deal with, apparently. But yeah, I'm gonna see about getting this thing done. I went from missing to showing up to them regularly. Well, I appreciate that, Ruben. Did you see the what do they call it? Pure stupidity? Did you check that out? It's like a prelude to this. I mean, I don't understand people. That's all it is. They do a lot of weird stuff. Oh my God, it's King. I haven't seen him in so long. Oh, King, did you see the pure stupidity upload? I'll give you a hint. Uh, when you want to change the color of something, you usually change it to another color. I mean, that is absolutely insane. Well, I mean, it's only like 3 minutes, so I guess you could ask Ruben what it was about. Maybe I don't know. He can give you a one a 101 on what the hell that was. Yeah, I was actually gonna put something up relating to Hillary's new comment. Yeah, but it's if it's already the color you have, why would you stick it on top of? Oh my God! And then you should see the Twilight Zone individuals that we have who defend this person. Where basically, there's about 2 or 3 people who, no matter what they do, they just back it. And I didn't even bother to call one of them up because when they were told by me about one of this irrelevant stuff, I mean, things that have nothing to do with the base issue were just spurred in there. Again, because they're grasping at straws. They're trying to figure out a way to justify something that, defend the indefensible. Brand new service for the new, but there is no new color. It's the same one. That's like me divorcing my first wife and then getting married to her again and saying second wife. Well, it's not the same person. Hey, Ruben, did you know that seems like you deal with a lot of nonsense lately? Oh yeah, well this has been going on since the about maybe a week, a little bit over a week into December, and that's kind of why I was a little excited because I thought maybe it was finally because in the upload I mentioned that the person had said, "Oh, yours is already this like this, so we don't have to bother with it," and then they reneged on that position, and it really it just like when they get surprised when you don't take their word seriously, it's because of things such as that. Or you can name multiple examples of them saying one thing and doing the other. Just like when I said that the Dear John letter writer documentary be out this week, I have the screenshots right here. I'm looking at them right now. So this person's definitely getting their treatment in the next 24 to 48 hours, depending if I finish it tonight. And it shouldn't be that much to sort through. I just try to rest, which it's a lot easier to do these sitting down because you don't have to keep leaning against something. So, and it goes from 3 to 1 to what a lovely number. See my oh yeah, I got on the charge on my phone. I was about to say I can go and look on the inside out. It's just a really strange occurrence. And I think most normal people, if they see this, will consent to that position. But again, I do recognize that there are some individuals who see some value in that. And I guess, as I mentioned there, it just, this stuff doesn't matter, you know? Like when we were talking about the chick stuff, we mentioned when to, get married and enjoy the presence of that person, have a family, all this, you know, these things that stretch beyond one night of pleasure. Because, like I said, if you want to get screwed, you can go meet a prostitute any any day of the week. So, there was a bigger purpose behind it, behind that particular thing. So it's just dumb. I'm gonna say that for the next 40 minutes. It's just dumb, dumb, dumb. I think it's really weird. I like, oh yeah, well, I'm not gonna bother with this. 3 weeks later, I'm gonna bother with this. I like consistency. I like it when people say something and they stick to it. Like when I said I wasn't gonna approach chicks anymore, I stopped. None last year at all. Only ones I spoke to were ones that came to me. That's it. As far as going to any of these places, and then I think I actually I didn't include this in the video for the Dear John letter writer, but she actually said, "Why don't you go to a bar?" I'm still trying to insert the joke of I didn't get with someone because I didn't go to a fish fry because they always have this thing where they think that if you go to this one particular place, it's just gonna magically flip everything around, like you're out of some Pixar movie. It's gonna be one of those good old fairy tales. I remember I met your grandmother when I had gone on all these websites and been to Target and Best Buy and all the stores, and then suddenly I went over to this bar and there she was, and she came up to me, or I came up to her, and we got to talking. They really act as if that's gonna happen. Say, "Oh, the music theme." Yeah, music theme. I'm gonna get some. I found out that Music Fiend's bike is yellow, so I'm gonna paint it yellow. That's gonna make the big difference. And I guess what's so creepy is that when you talk to them, they genuinely like. If anyone's ever read The Great Gatsby, which I bring that up because it's a required reading material for a lot of people, there's a part toward the end where Nick is trying to tell Tom, how screwed up it was for him to basically pin everything on Gatsby, and he stops himself because he realizes that Tom can't grasp why what he did was wrong. So when you try to articulate, "Hey, this is unnecessary because X, Y, and Z," they just, they can't understand it. It doesn't compute. It's like trying to stick a PS3 game in a PS2. It doesn't work. It's above their head. Just yeah, these all these computers for some reason have a weird thing with their quality. It's with all the Apple devices. They just sometimes they look really good, sometimes they look horrible, and they never you can't get consistency out of them is the biggest issue. Yeah, this stuff is really bad. Okay, I don't think I need anything else from the messages. Oh, I didn't get this one. Okay, that's the one we need to stick in here too. Oh, there's some new comments. Consistency in people is hard to find nowadays. I am an unreleased PS5. Yeah. Try to stick a PS5 game whenever that comes out in the PS4 and see if it works. It's just like over here. I mean, you can almost sound like a lawyer when you speak. You can give evidence of where they've said one thing and then contradicted it. You can provide facts around what's going to happen if they do that, and it just doesn't matter. It's because it's all emotion. Emotion causes people to go out and do a lot of things that aren't good for them. And also, let me read Ruben. Not Ruben. Ruben hasn't written a comment in a while. Roman said, "Too complex, even when broke down time and time again." I'm probably going to do an upload between next week and the week after that, where I put all of my applications in my email on the screen with the date in there because I want to show you how horrible the market is out here. I mean, if you see the dozens and dozens of places, you're gonna say, "Wow, when will check like a dildo?" I remember that video. What was it? Noobs and chodes play Xbox or something. Oh, Roman, I guess what kills me is that you have people who are here that will deride someone for being unemployed. Like they're here and they know how horrible it is, and they just assume that the person doesn't want to do anything. So I'm gonna put all those up. I'm gonna tell you what the locate, not the location. I'm gonna cut out the location. I'm gonna say the particular place, and then you'll be able to understand just how because I do believe that numbers make a difference. So with the chick thing, we would often say, "Oh, I approached 80, 90, 100 on social media and because I did. Um, I have applied to at least 30 retailers in the last 2 months. But again, you'll see it in the upload. If you and I guess I should also clarify if you count so let's say it's a restaurant, one of those multi corporation ones, and you apply to maybe 5 or 6 different stores. That counts as 6 different jobs or positions that you applied for. So I'm counting them under that metric because it's going to make it even more ridiculous. Like I still can't get over that one place from late last year. Uh, that after Roman, I'm about to read your comment, but after a week, so it was the 12th. I applied to I think 9 or 10 of them, at least 8 of them, and I only heard back from one of them, and it was within that first week of having and they just wrote me back to say, "Thanks, but no thanks." And the other ones never wrote back, which means they had the option to say yes or no, and they basically went out of their way to be like, "Yeah, we're no under no circumstances." So I told you these places are ran by pricks, man. Roman says, like, you have the power to make an employer hire you at will. That's why I don't argue with those who think that way. Well, like I said, I know that there are people who cannot change their position because they don't really care about context or facts or anything of that nature. So I'm going to just put them on the screen with the date, maybe have a little bit of commentary over it, and that'll be it. Olive Garden. Did I? Let me go look. I don't know if I ever did apply there. Let me see. Uh, put that in my search engine. Oh nope, never there. You found the one place that I didn't bother with. Oh, the worst thing is when you go to one of them and then they say, "Oh, well, there's this other place that's like 50 miles away that's looking for someone." It's like you idiots think I'm going to you because your store looks nice. No, you're the closer one or in a proximity that I can actually get to every day versus some that's halfway across the state. I hate that so much. I say a lot of things. Let's see here. It's like dealing with women. You're either tolerable enough to get a no or get ghosted. What an analogy. I mean, that's why I gave the comparison that you can pretty much take the chick thing and apply it anywhere, like with the voice actors, where you've had people who are so like cowardly slash not brave that they can't even just say I don't want to do this anymore. They'll like you have some of them who will literally just stop responding or in extreme cases block you just to not say no. I mean, that's so weird. No, no, black pill. They recommend a store where you need a a cape and some red and blue tights to get over there, or instant transmission or some other technique. I still can't get over that one restaurant from September. I was so happy when they said something back, and I mean, I'll go over it in the upload. I'll discuss what they did. Yeah, the voice actor thing is just really sad because it's like they think they're breaking up with you or something. You're just a person who does a role, and you're so cowardly that you can't just convert this file. Convert it. They can't just say I'm not interested. They have to sit here and pretend as if it's some big huge thing. Like, oh my god, if I tell Justin that I don't want to work on his project, he's going to come to my house and slash my throat. Why? Because he uh, wants you to just say you're not interested. Are you kidding me? That's and I that I've really tried to downplay my powers because I'm not powerful. I'm just a guy with a computer that sometimes will ask people to do stuff, and if they say no, I can't really do anything to them other than get annoyed. Yeah, like anything in a 50-mile radius is a convenient distance to get to work. Some places are ridiculous sometimes, and in many instances, they only have one or two in that location, and the next one's in another city or town or you know series of zip codes. Yeah, they're pricks. Well, music theme. Remember what I told you that 40, what is it? Over 40% of the homeless have jobs. And then almost 80% of Americans live paycheck to paycheck. And they keep talking about the low unemployment rate. Yeah, Ruben, this stuff happened, was there before Trump. It's just the latter, like a lot of the issues that were already around are now getting brought up. Oh man, this thing isn't working. Technology. All this work to get a job that sucks anyway, yeah, and they wonder why some people want to burn this whole thing to the ground. Well, I actually had a joke that it was like that applying for as many places as I did was kind of like its own employment. Like it was a job to apply to places. And that's what I'm going to show in the upload. Those are just all the different, and we're going to count them too. Every time I stick them on screen, it's really pathetic. But like I said, I live in the twilight zone, so these companies can put up advertisements saying, "Oh, we somebody please work for us, please," and then after you fill out the thing, "Oh no, thank you," and they always do the same thing where you go up to them and they smile in your face, and then after the what do you call it? After you leave, that's when they over the phone, "Oh, we found some other person. You're a fine fellow, but we're just not interested. Don't take it personally. Please still shop at our store and give us more revenue." I'll never get over the I think it was the third to last place that I heard back from, where the guy was like, "I called you on your phone yesterday and you didn't answer, so I hired another candidate." It's like you're the same person who, when I didn't answer for I think it was 3 days, had no problem with me coming up there, but I'm supposed to believe that because I, according to you, didn't answer my phone one day, which I actually didn't get called by that person. Um, you just magically decided, oh, that's the final nail in the coffin for him. It's like, man, get out of here. We still never found out if DB Cooper was even a real person. I think he was. I think he was a clown that got himself killed over some money by jumping out of a plane at night. And remember they found the some of the bills buried or whatever. So he probably landed with it, and then after the natural elements came into play, they covered it up. And the skeleton's probably at the bottom of the ocean or something. You see, oh man, King just disappeared. He flew the coop. He decided I wasn't worthy of of continuing to write stuff for. When I was talking to the Dear John letter writer, she was like, "You deserve better" than herself. And I was just thinking about all the times that I had these clowns write that, you need to do this and do that to be considered worthy of any of these people. Like even the ones that think you're worthy still, according to them anyway, think you're worthy will still say no. So, nice try. But I actually responded by saying, by better, do you mean with no one or with the gold digger? Like pick your poison. Those are my better alternatives. Like I said, they just say things don't even make any sense. Preview is acting horrible. I was trying to get this image that I had taken earlier. So I'm just gonna take a picture of it instead because it's taking too long. and I'll read whatever's being written. Just give me a moment. I gotta make sure that this name is cut out of here. All right, let me see. Anyone write anything? No, no one wrote anything. We did have like three people jump out. That's the best thing about stream watching the number just go down and up again. It's like a yo-yo. Rogan brought back Barry Weeze again, and she started preaching garbage again. All these agains. You should have said that Barry Weeze returned to the Joe Rogan podcast, and she started preaching garbage once more. So being so redundant. You know, people do that where they remember I said that's why I don't curse on here because they'll take how something is said versus what the actual message is. So if you use quote unquote bad or redundant grammar, they'll go and focus more on that than what you're actually saying. And it's really sad because there are a lot of people who make some good content that gets diminished because these clowns are sitting here going, "Oh my God, he said a bad word. I've never heard one of those before."
Justin, can I see if they brought a box in here?
Technical difficulties. Okay, Barry Weiss is that extreme pro-Israel woman who shows up on mainstream media outlets just to praise it. Oh, so she's a Netanyahu bootlicker. Roman says literally take the entire context and throw it out the window just because you use Yeah. And I can for the most part turn it off, as in I can decently not like when they did this thing at the start of last month, I was very upset, but I didn't say anything using any of those words to that person. Only when this new thing happened that I put up in the upload, that 3-minute one that I did before the stream, did I just go just off. It's like, this is stupid. Because it is. And me saying it in one way or the other isn't going to make them do anything differently. So I'm saying there's no incentive to not swear, because if you don't swear, they ignore what you say and do the thing anyway. And then if you do swear, they go, "Oh my God, how could you use such dirty language?" So you really can't win one way or the other. And I have great ambitions to not be around that kind of stupidity. So that's why when I was at the motel, I had applied to all those places in 1 week. It was, I mean, I think at least 20, so maybe two or three a day, and it still didn't work because they didn't say anything back. The first one to say something back was that same location that I applied to 11 of, or was it 11? Let me check it. It's somewhere close to 10, and only one of them said anything back, and that one said, thanks, but no thanks. Let's see, one, two, three, four, five, six, seven. Okay, so it was seven. It was close to that. That's still fairly close to 10. It's closer to 10 than zero. Halsey is a terrible musician. Have I heard of that person before? I don't think I have. I apologize for not knowing who that is. Feel very bad.
And I'm like, okay, well, what do you want me to tell you? My whole life story.
What else is here? You are lucky to not know who she is. I mean, if you say so, I don't really pay much attention to many of these contemporary artists. That's a good thing, LOL, not worth looking up. There's this one video this guy made 10 years ago where he was on this person's, they were on YouTube and then they made their own website. And he was like, if you don't know who this person is, congratulations, you're a winner. And he said, walk away, but if you have heard of this person before, and I didn't walk away because I knew who they were, or not walk away, but turn off the video and watch another one. If you don't know who this is, you're a winner. I thought that was funny. Like it's like some reward to have never encountered that person before. Don't bring more attention to. Yeah, you guys are making her out to be the star. If we got 5 people discussing her on a stream where she's not even the topic, that reminds me of that one debate between what's the governor of South Dakota's name? What's that smoking hot, beautiful babe's name? Um, I gotta look it up. But she was doing a debate with the Democratic candidate, and she was like, "I don't support Bernie Sanders' health care bill." And he was like, first of all, I don't know how Bernie Sanders got dragged into this conversation." It was really funny because that just shows how famous he is when you think of socialists in the US, like to where he's not even in this race or a candidate for this office, or I don't even think has stepped foot in South Dakota. And you brought him, yeah, that that smoking hot woman. Oh, it took my breath away. Music Fiend, they haven't had a Democrat as governor in South Dakota in I think 40 years. They've had the longest streak of one party rule. Let me see when the last time they had one was. 'Cause that's one of those things I remembered that they were gonna break it if she didn't win that election, and she just squeezed out. 51 to 47 in a red state. That's terrible. And the person before her, I just want to mention this. His name was Dennis Duggar, whatever, and he had 70%. So they went from a crushing, embarrassing for the Democrats victory to just a few point edge out over the in 4 years you go from a landslide to a close squeeze. Now that's pathetic. To be fair, the Democrat in that last election did a lot better than the one before. The other one got was it 70,000 votes, and that one got 160,000. So it's more so because the Democrat was a much better candidate the second time around or the last time around than in 2014. It still is embarrassing. But that's how this lady is in here. We're not. No one's even talking about music, and she's getting brought up. And Music Fiend stopped saying anything because he's attracted to her too. He had to go download some of her pictures and put them in a little folder. Get away from his keyboard. We should take her picture and uh, Palin's picture and Haley's picture and just stick them all in a little folder and call it the Bimbo Boutique. Cow colored. Oh, it's not black, but now painted black in reference to this. Man, it is so bad. This past 5 or 6 weeks has been really frustrating. And like I said, I know people have had harsher penalties and experiences, but I miss the stability. I miss not having to worry that you were just gonna come home and your stuff was moved all over the place, and then um, you know, if you say anything about it, you're the villain. You don't understand. It's like I get it. It's still stupid. No amount of browbeating is going to change my position. Okay, so the last screenshot will be crazy message because that message that she wrote me was absolutely insane. What else is here? These streams are getting later and later. The one from yesterday was 5. This one is almost 8. Feel really bad for doing that. People have to go to sleep. They find the music thinking is like, my mom told me I have to get off the computer in 20 minutes. You better hurry it up. It's like, or I'm about to speak real fast. It'd be like, what was it, Blur from Transformers? You talk so quick. It's just such a weird group. Just like how people reason and the way they think about stuff. I mean, I haven't really gone in depth about some of the other weird decisions that are made, but if I mention them, you're going to say, wow, because these things by themselves are just kind of whatever. But when you talk about it collectively and then what the stuff that is not purchased, it makes it sound stranger. Yeah, where did Ruben go? Just keeps disappearing. Hey King, do you have anything that you want painted the same color twice? Yeah, I was mad earlier, but I'm just gonna laugh it off. Life sucks, and have it like that. That's what that was really funny. That a lot of stuff that would get me upset after a certain point, I just have gotten to the point of laughing at how dumb it is. It's like, oh, the 100th chick said no. I'm so shocked. I, c- I could have never seen this coming. Like it sucks, but I'm the point of self-loathing and that's over. So I'll just say, hey, we're in hell. That's it. And then King, as you say that, you look over to and it's already snow colored, and then I'm like, but that was done in 2007. We're gonna do it this year too. It's like, oh my god, it never ends. Like, who the hell has nothing to do to where they're staring at a wall? Just like, how can I modify this? Anyone have any ideas? Like, no, nobody cares. Well, most people don't care, is what I'm saying. And I do believe most people would not think of this as a priority, especially in an era where we live paycheck to paycheck. And was it 60 plus percent acquaint yourself with high status people? It's not even about being high status, just certain things are not worth it with a riot. As much as I hate elitism, I hate a dude that isn't worth telling me what to do. I mean, it's people who have the power to do these things just kind of, I guess the best way to phrase it is just because you can do something doesn't mean you should. So when I watch a lot of these transactions take place. I just kind of roll my eyes and scratch my head trying to figure out what the meaning of it is. It's really stupid. See what else is here. Uh, I'm just going over this thing, trying to make sure I have all my pieces and knickknacks and whatnot for this stuff. I don't know. It's usually the editing part by itself is whatever, but when you have to convert the file to the to be on the desktop and then upload it is usually where it's annoying because when you get the actual file from YouTube, it's not that big. But then for some reason, when you craft it in iMovie, it wants to be two, three, four times larger, and then your thing is like, oh, you need to delete something. It is so large. I mean, I just get annoyed because, like I said, I don't understand the point of having to get rid of something every 2 seconds because you want to actively put stuff on here. So that's the biggest issue. Editing by itself is one thing, but the quote unquote sacrifices are another. You must delete 50 files before you can download. Are you kidding me? It doesn't say it that way, but it's that same kind of thing of you can't just have this on here for reasons. My passions. I don't know. You tell me. Uh, I mean, the political stuff should be fairly obvious, and then I write. I do some drawing as well. I try to avoid dingbats and stupid decisions, but sometimes it doesn't go the way I want it to because of things like this. Like you remember the setup from this weekend where I was standing against up on top of that thing, like that's over because they moved it somewhere else. It's just I want consistency. Then that's something I had, and just for whatever reason you can't have it anymore because people want to keep bothering things and tamper with this and touch this. I mean, Jesus Christ. One Paizu. That's some new Star Wars character, Ruben. Is that you trying to get me to do a Rise of Skywalker review? It's very subtle, I'll give you that. Stick this in here, get rid of this. Oh, oh. I thought you didn't even like that series. I heard you, I didn't hear you. I read you singing some disparaging things about it. Oh, my favorite thing that happened today was when this person who curses, and this is why I said they have this, there's like this weird duopoly where people who swear get offended by swearing. There was a video I was playing, they were like, you better turn that off or turn that on. And I was like, you curse all the time. All like whatever, hypocrisy is all over the place. So it would make sense it would be that close to me too. But that's crazy. I don't even understand how you. It's like, oh my god, he's cussing. It's like, yeah, it's like you. Like, no, I'm not like, yes, you are. I thought he was going to be a major character in Obi-Wan. They were going to have him as the sidekick or something. because it's apparently established that after the prequel trilogy, he's a clown on Tatooine. I think he's the only prequel era character that survives the OT because they stuck him in Return of the Jedi. You can hear him in the background. The same people who hate him are the same ones that try to convince me that Rose and the broad with the purple hair and Ray aren't all annoying. I don't like any of those sequel trilogy characters, man. Like the thing about where is it? I even pointed this out before. The thing with Jar Jar is that after he annoyed people on the first one, Lucas had enough sense to make him minor in all the subsequent stuff. And it's like for some reason they just with the Disney films they double down on all the stuff that gets negatively received. And they keep claiming we didn't make Rose have a smaller role because people hated her. Like, all right, I bet he does. Someone actually did a video. They were talking about how they should have brought back Plagueis instead of Palpatine, which would have made a lot more sense considering he was trying to figure out how to live forever. And I think would have been cool because he, that's his power, and it would have tied stuff back to the. Man, it's just so much stuff they could have done with those movies, and they ruined it, or they did lesser than what they could have done. Is the issue? Oh, what a waste! Let's see. A lot of people wanted started taking rumors getting brought back to be the villain. That it was all his master plan and scheme and evil and all that. I mean, hey, it would be funny if you had a villain who had some high pitched voice and was acting all crazy, or other was moving around and jumping about. But instead, they had to bring back Palpatine again for no reason. I still can't go. They really don't explain why he comes back at all. It's just he's the evil emperor, so he made a return. Okay, why? Uh, just so lame. But I already said they don't care about actually crafting some story that goes along with other events. And what kills me is that they kept trying to set up Kylo as the apprentice who will take over for the master, which is why they had him kill Snoke in the second one. And then he never becomes the big bad. He just is like a halfway evil, halfway good. Oh my god, that you could tell that trilogy didn't have any kind of grand plan scoped out for it. I already said they should have made either him a good guy and Ray a villain because we like throughout all those films we don't see any female Sith. Like it wouldn't have been way cooler if it was some broad trying to, get some man to become. We hadn't seen anything like that in any of those films. But no, we have to have a retelling of A New Hope for the first one. Oh, Last Jedi ruined things so badly that there was no way that Disney could fix the sequels other than instant cancellation. And then they remember what was it? Abrams said, "Oh, I killed off Han because I didn't know what to do with him." I mean, isn't that kind of your fault? He wasn't advancing. Well, neither did Kylo. Kylo stayed a little apprentice, second class villain the entire trilogy. And then by the time he supposedly turns good, he dies. So it's more stuff they ripped off from Return of the Jedi. The villain becomes a good. What was it? Redemption equals death. TV tropes. That's what they did with him. Wants to make the HBO Watchmen sequel this year and ruin that comic book's legacy too. I thought they only made one because they were trying to have respect for the source material. I guess that went out the window when they could extort some dollars. Tell you, man, once money gets involved, people will do anything possible to. Oh my God, they're just tied in together. He was a Harris surrogate and a Netanyahu bootlicker. That's perfect. Yeah, tomorrow is gonna suck because people are messing with things that don't need to be messed with again. It never ends. That's why we said when is enough enough? Because they screw with the closet, then they screw with the floor, then they screw with the wall, then they screw with the bed, then they screw with the chair. I mean, it does not end. And that's why I said that you have to really make these people feel as if what they're doing is ridiculous for there to be any chance of it being different. A lot of times they usually can't, they can only stop when they can't do it anymore because of some external factor. Probably Hillary. The music theme went back to sleep. His wife showed up. She told him to get in there. Let me look. Let's see if she backed her. Other. Okay, no, that's not her. Yeah, I don't see anything about it. Okay, let me see if there's anything with her and Trump. Well, apparently the Disney CEO wants to run for president or something in another election cycle, which is very laughable. Never, music fiend. What a ridiculous question. You should get banned for that. In fact, I'm gonna do it right now. It's your last day. We're gonna throw you in the trash as such a ridiculous inquiry. Enabled the careers of all of these clowns. Okay, let's see how many people it is. That's Shift. That's Carrie. That's Howard. Um, Roy Cohn. Jesus, by the time I get finished, these people, I'm gonna be a skeleton when we go all's done. That neocon propaganda show 24. Hey, when I did the upload about Clinton's comments about Sanders, I was gonna be like, former Secretary of State slash serial killer Hillary Rodham, just I would. It was funny because a lot of these secretaries of state, since they support conflicts that kill thousands of people, are serial killers. They just don't directly murder anyone themselves. My God, it's just really insane to me if you that some clown out here kills one person, they go to jail, and horrific murder of that, but then we killed thousands overseas, and it's just another day in the news, another day in the hood. Yeah, that's pretty much it's like the ones who do it themselves are the rookies, and the ones that sit at the top of government are the professionals because they can do it and make it not bother people. They do it in such a way that it's desensitized to other individuals or to most people. That's why I said the U.S. is going to hell because everyone's just fine with this stuff. USAjobs.gov. They have a commercial. Want to kill people with a question mark. Have no conscience, empathy, or understanding of the meaning of life. Here's a position for you. It's just disturbing how accurate that is. And I told you that they don't even take any time to like, oh, we bombed here. Oh, okay, whatever. That's how people react to it. Hey, Ruben, what did you think of the pure stupidity? Did you like it? Did it make you laugh? Did you grin? Did you agree with the person who wants to do it, or did you side with my position? I always see leftists attempting to troll Near on Twitter, and that's dangerous because Near is a professional serial killer and has committed many way worse crimes than just mocking progressives. I know she was on a Democratic Party board and voted to bomb somewhere. There was a whole video that Jimmy did about her record and how she's not just some random commentator, that she's unfortunately someone who's been in positions of power, and she was apparently on Clinton's shortlist for chief of staff. So she's a really dangerous character. I told you every time she's on TV, I change the channel. They had her on MSNBC. I just flip. Music Fiend says near attend in 2024. Vote for death and destruction. You want your morals abandoned? Vote for Tandon. Wow. So Music Fiend is on board. He just gave his ringing endorsement. Well, they've been trying to prop her up for years, and she hasn't even won anything. She's just a former president's sperm cell, and that's enough to run apparently. So I said people pretend they care about democracy, but then they prop up these same families over and over again, which is really disgusting. Oh, Ruben, you didn't respond to my comment about the upload, if you liked it or not, or rather the message of it. Oh, that's another ticket that could come to pass. Remember, the top four candidates are her, Haley, Junior, and then Rubio. Oh, I had this joke, but not really a joke. It's an accurate statement that they play with the air conditioner because it went from cold to warm to cold to warm. Like if you were just sitting here, you would notice it would be kind of like a little, just room temperature, and then all of a sudden, It's progressive because they're women, but they're strong because of their body count. Yeah, they can murder all these people. It's fine. No one has a problem with it. You put on a suit and tie and order a murder, and you're apparently doing something different from someone who breaks into someone's house and slices a throat. Apparently, it's less offensive the more people it is versus some personalized touch. Can't believe Ruben forgot. I'm so disappointed. He was one of the first people to see it too, and he forgot. That should tell me how non-memorable I am now. This is the worst thing ever. This is even worse than what they're doing over here. Yeah, I find it really funny. You actually have individuals who will say that we're supposedly negative for things that are occurring that are out of our control. Saying when I went to those interviews, man, I was the happiest person ever. I would always tell myself, imagine if they actually say yes and then they don't, and then I'm supposed to be surprised. Wow. Like no, it's the same thing where they pretend to have an interest. You go in there and then you get bamboozled. I don't say that with pride or with some assurance, but if it's happened enough times to where you've lost count, because most of the time they just don't say anything back. You just waste your time filling all these things out. Um, it can get really annoying. You can get to the point of just saying screw it. That's why I said that there's too many people who are just content with a lot of this nonsense. And somehow you're the villain if you just. I mean, I don't have any control over the people around me. I just deal with it. Yeah, my greatest offense is saying something someone doesn't like. Oh my God, he has this opinion about whatever. Yeah. See, where did our king went to bed? So he's napping. He's having a rest. If anybody's gonna write anything else, I'm just gonna sit here and stare at my screen. I'm just gonna. I guess that uploads would kind of warm me out because you get to a position of being, excited about certain things, and then it goes away. Just found out last week that we never. No, there's no way he had to have known that. We've been turned into a troll. He said the usual suspects aren't here today, so let me make sure I fill that quota. You're not tricking me. I'm not gonna fall for your was it tomfoolery, whatever term they use. I wish I could download that video of him freaking out like that. It was really funny. That's like the N word for us. See what else is here. Classic film. You say so. It was after the Sanders and Warren Paul disaster at the debate event. Yeah, CNN apparently has they're trying to copyright clips you play from that, which is really insane because it's supposed to be a public medium or public forum. They'll let Fox News play their stuff, but they won't let you play it. I remember when Fox did the first Republican debate for for the last election cycle. They played that thing over and over. I know they did the first one. They did another one on Fox Business, which is the one where Trump tried to. Uh, Cruz said something about New York values, and then Trump tried to compare that to 9/11 for whatever reason to get sympathy. Yeah, they were really proud to have that debate. Oh my God, we got the candidates to come over here and speak to us, and they were playing it every day. They would just out of nowhere they would play. It was just funny how they had 16 people running, and now, with the exception of maybe 5 or 6 of them, you don't see any of them anymore ever. Like, I couldn't count on one hand the number of times I've seen Pataki or, uh, I mean, really just anybody that's not a sitting member of Congress or Trump. It's, they disappear like Jimmy Hoffa. Yeah, this stuff does not seem to really improve ever. I don't know. Maybe tonight I'll do the upload and I'll put that up this morning. So that documentary, and then after that, I'll probably they disappear like DB Cooper. Yeah, well, that's somebody else. But the thing is, he wasn't really a known. Like Hoffa was actually a pretty famous person for the era that he was from. Before organized labor got its head bashed in after Reagan took over. So when you say Cooper vanished, it's his only era of actually being a significant person was hijacking a plane for a night. Hmm. Yeah, I usually either say disappeared like Jimmy Hoffa or Natalie Holloway, one of those two. So don't go to Aruba. Yeah, all these people are vanishing and nowhere to be seen, disappear without a trace. There's some other person that happened to, some woman that apparently when they went to her house, there was blood in there, and she just never returned. There was no written, just completely vanished. God, this stuff just does not improve. Uh, did he really? You can look it up. That's why we get so mad when people don't use the internet. They have all this stuff they can use to find out something and they don't. allegedly fell into the ocean. We couldn't have climbed into the ocean, so where do you think he went? Over here trying to scare me. Allegedly. Hey, but Ruben, do you get what I was telling you about what I told you last month about how it's just this really weird kind of continuous, never-ending loop of stuff that keeps happening, and it's just been a really unstable circumstance for the last couple of weeks. And again, none of this is mentioned to elicit sympathy because, as I continue to say, there are people who have had worse, but it's just all of it together, like chick stuff never ends. Uh, you go around sign all these papers for some crappy position. They don't say anything back, or if they do, that you go in for interview and they basically smile in your face just for nothing to happen or for them to say no. And the only thing that changes is that you went from having a little place where you could get some kind of continuity and now it's just shuffled all over. So do you get what I was saying when I mentioned that? And now they're gonna paint a white room white. Like, this is just so damn dumb. That paint has been there for years, so what? And I mentioned before, my principal frustration is that, um, they had to, what I mean, it's just like having to move all this stuff over, and the fact that it takes, multiple days as well. It's annoying. But like I said, when they do this remodeling stuff, a lot of times they don't take into account that you have people who are trying to live in a place, and this kind of stuff can really make it harder for them to stay in one spot or not. So for we're about to enter month two of this weird crap, and like I said, I can't escape from it because these places do not hire. I mean, I never would have thought you'd have to apply to 60, 70, 80 places to get a position or talk to uh what is it, more broads than you can count to go on a date. It's like the same place, Music Fiend. I'm just saying that it's unstable because of the reasons I've given. I think I've explained it pretty clearly. So if you don't know, I can't make it any easier. I take my time saying that I give some exposition. I mean, I'm very thorough. Not thorough. I'm very what's a good word for it? I typically specify what I'm talking about. I don't just rush it out. I try to say it in a way to where you can hear it and not have to wonder and go, "Oh, did he mean this?" Because that's what I purposely avoid now. A lot of people will take something someone says in the context. Like when I mentioned that one broad that uh, I asked for her number and she gave me her Instagram, not Instagram, her Facebook, and then announced that she couldn't speak to me because she was busy with her life or whatever. I had said, what was I supposed to do? Tie her up and bring her back to my place? But of course, I don't mean that literally, but you have people who would take that and go, oh my God, he actually considered doing this. Like, no, I'm saying that as an example of how there are certain scenarios where if you're being objective, you can't really think of anything else that person could have done based off of what they're telling you. It's just like when I was talking to the lady lacking logic, and I told her about that one clown that was like, I'm not interested in speaking to you by phone ever. And then she hears me mention this and how that caused me to stop speaking to that person. She goes, maybe she meant she wasn't ready to speak to you by phone yet. It's like she literally said, I do not want to speak to you by phone. What do you mean yet? That's what I'm saying. People purposely they don't listen to what's actually being said. They just try to twist it and spin it for their own little, I guess, gain or whatever. But I can't say that this development really surprises me because, as I mentioned before, a lot of stuff you get when it seems like it's finished or it might go one way, it flips itself. So, for example, this person said, "Oh, we're not going to mess with there because it's already done," referring to the color, and then now is reneging and saying, "I'm going to screw with it." It's just like when I was talking to the Lady Lacking Logic, and she was, you know, trying to argue against me saying that the chick stuff was a waste of time, and I had said, "Why would someone who's not interested in me be so upset by this?" Uh, and I thought maybe at best this is her trying to squeeze herself into someone I can do stuff with romantically in the future. Because again, it didn't make any sense to me that a person who thinks of someone platonically is going to be so bothered by their romantic choices to sit there and try to debate them over and over. But she was that stupid. She was that condescending. She was that dumb. Um, again, if that ulterior motive I described was there, it would make sense because I told the Dear John letter writer the only reason I care about your decision to not date anyone anymore is because that directly impacts me because I'm interested. But if you choose to, you get my point. It's just it sucks that you sit here and try to make sense out of things, and it seems like it can go in one way reasonably, and then it turns out to be something else entirely. This is here. We went from 6 to 5 to 4, and then went back to 5. That person's gonna go take a nap, and then we're gonna be back at 4 again. That's really crazy too, because they do blame the person who streams for the number. Like, I have remember the psychic powers. You will watch, and it's strange too because when I look at a lot of the other people, they have a set number too. A broken CPU. Who has a broken CPU? Well, no, I don't. I don't. My stuff is accurate over here trying to mess with me. Yeah, this whole thing is really ridiculous. We never found out who Max Headrom really was. Never found out who the Zodiac was either. I live with the mystery. So, like I said, a lot of this stuff I just don't think about. It doesn't bother me not to be aware of what it is, which is not to say that it's something that I couldn't understand why other people are intrigued. It just isn't, on the top of my list of things that I'm supposed to be really concerned about. Because you do have people who come on here and look up theories and positions and the ilk. Yeah, a lot of this stuff is just really bad, and again, if I think if my detractors actually listened to what I was saying, then I haven't read it before. Is it any good, Ruben? I'm asking about that manga. But I think if a lot of my detractors actually heard what I said, they would understand it's not about being negative. It's just when you have reinforcement to believe something, you believe it, and if you don't, you don't. So that's why I brought up how if I applied for maybe three positions, right, and then no one said anything, and I applied for another three, and then two of them said something, I would believe that it wasn't some very difficult thing to hear back from these employers. But because of it's like the chick thing, dozens and dozens of them, the more you do, the less likely you feel that you're going to, get what you want. It's about some girl who regularly annoys some guy, so probably not. Oh, I thought you had read it before. That's my mistake. Shouldn't have been so assumptuous. Yeah, it's a really simple thing I think to get if you look at stuff just reasonably. Because I know a lot of them who come on here and say those things, "Oh, you're gay and you quit too early." Like I know a lot of them are not actually trying to hear out what I'm saying. It's just to be evil online, and we like to come on here and mess with people, and I get that, but it does suck that if you're trying to speak about something in a reasonable, collected way, like you've actually thought about it, and you're now trying to articulate that. Um, Ideally, you would want people who at least are open-minded enough to actually hear what's being said, but they don't care. And it's a really I don't know, I think I try to write it off. I laugh at a lot of stuff, but it does discourage me from really bothering with a lot of people when it comes to trying to explain something or give my position, because if they've already determined that it's wrong no matter what I say, and then it's kind of I don't really see the point of explaining it to them. It's just like with the one of these people, they said, well, if people talk to each other, they can sometimes understand what the other person is saying. It's like, yeah, but if that understanding does not yield either person to do anything differently, then what good is it? I have one person right now who I mention to them. It seems like every time I tell them something, they take the other person's side. I could have a 2 hour call. Well, they might hang up on me, but if I can guarantee if we had a 2 hour call, uh, they would refuse to accept the premise, even if it's backed by the fact that they, have all these people they'll pick the side of over, and nothing would change. I could let them have a 40-minute monologue where I just sit there and listen to every random rambling they have to say. And I could do the exact same thing back where they listen and I speak. But if neither person comes to any kind of concession, what good is that? And that's what it was like with this wall thing. I mean, you know, I explain why I think this is dumb. The person doesn't care, and then it happens, and I'm supposed to sit there and not say anything. And it seems as if no matter what you say, as long as it's not, "Oh, this looks so nice. I'm so happy that," basically lying, you're the villain. And it really is kind of a slap in the face because I do I generally speak without profanity. I give some kind of fact to back what I'm saying, but when emotion is pushed in the middle of it by the other person, there's not much I can do about it. So I said I do have like a little social experiment where sometimes I just won't say anything. Just how much can they do without me having any kind of input or interjection or comments or whatnot? Because if you're not going to hear what I say, then why say it? Like I usually just take a deep breath and let them consume them. So, because again, usually it's just them doing things to each other. But if it's something where you're taking some other person's stuff and scatting all over the place, I do think that person has a right to get at least disillusioned. No one's talking about going up and cursing someone out, but certainly saying, "Hey, can you not do this?" I think that's reasonable. But I do understand there are people who just will not bring themselves to comprehend that. So, nothing changes, and we just sit in the endless cycle of me applying for positions, getting told I'm lazy while doing that, um, and pretty much just the loop. It's some kind of dissonance. I just like when I got upset over the Giuliani thing. I sat down and wrote the whole thing out because I don't like to basically stay in the same place with something for some prolonged period. And it just seems like whenever something stays the same, it can always be linked to the other person. Like if I say tomorrow, I'm gonna get married, and then I go out and talk to 90 of these clowns and they all say no and nothing changes, is that really my fault, or is it because of a collective group of people all acting like the Borg from Star Trek and having, a one, all thinking the exact same thing of, oh, I'm not going to get with this person for maybe a different reason here or there, but you get the same result, is what I'm saying. And in that instance, it's very easy for me to say it's that person's fault because if they had said yes to my yes, then it would happen. That's why I told you that a lot of people don't want to accept that in a world with billions of people, a lot of the things we do are tied to someone else's willfulness to do them. And if we're stuck with people who are not interested or say screw you or whatever, you get nowhere. When you apply for some place and there's a person on the other end of the screen who's saying, I'm not going to pick this person, then you apply somewhere else, they say, I'm not going to pick this person. You were willing to work for them, and they basically stuck their middle finger in your face. But because they're seen as the productive member of society who's climbed up the ranks and blah 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 blah, that's unwilling to give you at least an attempt at their establishment, you're getting blamed for that as well. So basically, you get blamed for the way someone else's mind works, which is really crazy. Well, people already know it's crazy. I don't need to explain that. It's already seen as being weird by a lot of people. See what else is here. Yeah, this stuff can get really. I don't know. I don't like to have to be confrontational and go back and forth and argue. But when you don't say anything, people roll over you. I've never seen this person before. They're an 11th hour ranger. They're coming right before I was going to end this. It's like a new thing. We have that one person who shows up and then disappears. That's the most comical part. All new shows are terrible. The only good ones I can think of is DC Super. Oh, that's the one with Wonder Woman and Batgirl, I think. Yeah, with as far as Young Justice is concerned, after the first season, I just stopped. I got bored. You have a team of 8 people and you develop admittedly most of them, but you add two more toward the end. And instead of developing the story you already have, you do some massive time skip that removes most of the people that were on the team. It's just that too many characters, man. It's because they have all this CGI and this other crap in them. Like, oh, we can't use puppets. Yes, you can. Oh man, they're gonna cancel that in another year or two. I'm surprised they haven't gotten rid of Teen Titans Go yet. Well, no, the reason they haven't gotten rid of that is because it's easy to produce. But I just hate that the original one is like instead of that getting a revival, we're stuck with whatever. I've already made that point before that instead of taking this show that people liked and trying to, but apparently it is, but it's not part of Phase 4 or 5, or rather 4. I don't know about 5, but it wasn't part of the fourth phase. So it's probably going to come in maybe 3 years or something. But yeah, I know they stick all kind of other characters in there, which is really kind of funny because I remember um, with the original, they didn't put like they put people who are either part of Young Justice or Teen Titans in there. They kind of stayed away from the adult superheroes. I think the only adult character you saw in there that was a good guy was Nightwing, and that was only in one alternate future episode. Yeah, it really there needs to be something different about the way things are structured. Like I said before, I think if someone people should be because here's the thing, right? When someone isn't employed, they're critiqued as being this individual doesn't want to do anything, whatever. So if we have mandatory, or rather, state that they're entitled to that, I don't really see the problem with it. Uh, One of the main goals was to keep Batman away from it tonight, so Robin could shine on his own, and Go just scrapped that concept anyway. Yeah, that was something I remember distinctively. Remember the what was it, the first season finale where Slade's like, "You might even think of me as a father," and then Robin's like, "I already have a father," and you see the bats just flock out. They worked really well on just having an independent group that didn't need any, the nanny superhero to show up and help them out, and they ruined that with Go. This one guy said Go is the Kmart version of the original because they can make it a lot quicker and they don't have as as sophisticated of a story. I have to agree with them. I mean, it's just and it sucks because like the way these Marvel and DC act about animated properties is that they can't have more than one or two shows airing at once. So I would say, oh, just keep Go and then do the original as well. And they'd be like, but if we do that, we have to get rid of Young Justice. Like, all right, well then screw it. Waiting for the Watchmen to show up in Teen Titans Go. They'll find a way to stick them in there. wouldn't be surprised. They find a way to stick everybody in there. I think the only they got for each it's kind of crazy for DC. I can't really think of any character they've just kind of stopped using that much. But I know for Marvel, they really like both Punisher and Daredevil. They just kind of got rid of. They sort of let them fade to the background because they were trying to do a show for Daredevil in the '90s, and that didn't work. And they did a movie for him, and then they did a spin-off of that. He's really fallen off in terms of just how much he got pushed by. Because I remember he was and then Punisher had some stuff too, and they just like right around the time the MCU got in the overdrive is when those two just stopped being used, which is lame, but whatever. Hey Ruben, would you want a video where I show all the different places that I've applied to? And like I don't the only thing I do is I cut off the like the store location, but I just have them all on top of each other. Because sometimes I'll do all of them for one location, just in a couple minutes of each other. Would you want to see that? With him killing everyone and Titans go next and he kills himself. Oh, what a dark episode. Well, the point of it is to show that I'm not just some person who claims something. And that's kind of my point that I can always prove what I say because this isn't a character that I portray on here. These are actual events that I really do kind of truthfully feel helpless to stop, even if I do things that I feel are in the pursuit of trying to have some effect. But like I said, I can't. My opinion on whether I should have a position is never going to usurp that of the employer. So they can basically just treat you like you don't exist in favor of some other person or just of not filling the position at all. So let's see, we've got the Dear John letter writer upload. We have the what's another one? The Giuliani one, and the one also on 17 breaking Dragon Ball, and then we have the what's another one? Uh, this new one, which is the proof that employers aren't any are liars or something. That's gonna be the name of it. It's gonna be called Beware CA Employers. I remember this one chick that came on one of the romance uploads and was like, when chicks see this, then they're going to be reluctant to speak to you. And I'm like, what world do you live in? They were reluctant before I put any of these up. Like you can't threaten someone with something they already have. I already have them acting as if I'm not even an entity in the real world. So why even it's you put them up because you have nothing to lose, not because you're worried about someone's perception of them. You just don't care. Like I used to really pretend that stuff didn't, because the first one I put up was 2015, so that was about maybe 3 whole years of just kind of not talking about it and pretending like it was just a thing that did not bug me. And I just said, "Hey, screw it, talk about whatever you want on here." And I had this one guy who kept on, yeah, Music Fiend. Those romance groups. I had one guy who kept on asking me, "Are you still a part of that group?" And I said, well, I didn't respond, but I mean, like, I never considered myself part of anyone's group because what happens is you'll have someone who's crazy or, that worships some person that did something violent. And then when they get highlighted, everyone else will get lumped into that same category. But also because I'm not part of anyone's team. My team is me, as I said before. My crew is me. Forget team can't get a girlfriend. I'm on team Justin. That's I mean, it's just the fact that like people take comfort in knowing that someone's part of some group. It's like why? Yeah, music thing got really bored. He stopped writing stuff. He saw his cognitive dissonance comment not be universally accepted. And he was like, all right, well, screw this. God, it's just so much easier to do these when you don't have to stand up. That's crazy. I just feel a lot more relieved to be sitting versus having to be positioning myself because I'm already planning on not you know for some hours, so it's all right. It just sucks that you have to explain to people why certain things are bad. Let's see. Oh, Ruben must have ran out of things to say. He decided to hit the hay. Those are the words from my canceled rap career. Yeah, it was supposed to be a decent. I mean, I really thought this was over, and they pulled a wool under from under me. And like I said, when I made the decision to withdraw myself, it was because I didn't. I knew that it would get worse. Which is what the topic of that stream was. That once it starts, they just can't stop. It's like a virus. That's all right. I'm gonna try to see if I can wrap this up meaningfully. So, look, in conclusion, I hate what is being done. I have. Oh, that's funny. I don't think he would interact with me. I played some consoles he doesn't like before, but I've really tried to kind of just work through the nonsense, and it feels like it just will never end because these places are not saying anything back, and obviously in a capitalist society, you have to put up with them in order to be able to really do much of anything. So I'm just kind of stuck having to go through with it. And it's not the worst thing in the world, but it is very annoying for reasons that I laid out here and I also laid out in the upload. So thank you for checking us out and have a good night.